Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by our military veterans. Get yourself ready. It's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. That deployment was a year?
Yep, it was a year, almost to the day.
Oh, wow.
We left the end of December and ended up getting back home. Well, we got back to Fort Hood just a couple of days before that year was up.
Okay.
I think the Army does that because if you go over a day, there's a lot of red tape and pay and everything else. They have to.
Yeah.
Go through, but
yeah, I can see that for sure.
But,
so then after that deployment, what'd you end up doing?
Well, I got back, went back to my full-time job as the commander of the, they call it the raid unit.
Okay.
But got back there and by this time, they're setting up these new companies called security and support battalion or companies, which incorporated the raid. And there was a company set up specifically for support for any kind of, thing that the state might need. At that time, the company commander slot was a major. I got promoted to major and took over that company and was setting it up. And, but I still had my full-time job too, as that raid commander. And then, I guess it was, that was in January of 05, I got back. And, it was, August of 06, in the summer, of course. We were out looking for marijuana with the DEA, and I had an engine failure in a 50, and there was just a series of things that went wrong. Bad location. You can't pick the location,
Right.
But bad location. Terrain was bad. This camera's. So it went bad, went south on me, and ended up having a real hard landing and broke my back in 2 places.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I broke it at T12 and L5. And
wow.
So that right there, that pretty much ended my career.
Yeah.
That was turning point number 3.
Yeah.
So, at this point, I'm at, what was I at 17, 18 years, something like that.
Okay.
And, but the thing is when it happened, I was paralyzed from the chest down.
Wow.
And so I'm thinking, man, what am I going to do? I got to go back to work. And the only thing I can do now is pilot,
Yeah.
But, that wasn't going to happen. Nobody told me it wasn't going to happen. My bosses were good enough or my main boss, he was the best guy you'd ever meet. He kept me on as still a commander. And meanwhile, I couldn't walk it took me almost 2 years to walk halfway decent again.
Yeah.
And during that time, a year of it, I didn't even go into work.
Wow.
So, having to go through therapy and all that stuff, constant doctor's appointments, pain that just, still doesn't go away to this day.
Right.
But,
yeah.
And of course, all the narcotics they had me on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were loading me up, trying to kill me, I think. But yeah, he kept me on. See, that was at year 17 or 18, and he kept me on for another 4 years to
Wow.
make sure that I got my 20 years of during that time. I've been accruing active duty service points,
Right.
and so that made sure that I got my retirement. And then I went before med board, and they medicaled me out. Um, but turns out the medical retirement portion of it um, set me off better than as far as financially than it's just a regular retirement.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's good.
Because
So,
all the tax breaks and everything.
mhm. So go back to your crash that you had. You were paralyzed. How much time did you spend like in the hospital? Those types of things. And then
Man,
what was the recovery like?
I was I think I was in the hospital about I think it was about 3 months. Um,
Wow.
the when they picked they had to when they came and picked me up. Um, I obviously it was a helicopter. Um, but the thing was, when we crashed, of course, we lost all commo with everybody. I was able to get it out a Mayday call as we were going down. So they heard that. They knew I was down, but they didn't know where I was. And we had 3 other aircraft out flying that day, and it was kind of in sections. We had these areas that we'd stay in different parts of a county, and
Right.
but they got to looking for me and couldn't find me. It turns out I would be there an hour and a half almost before they did find me and get
Wow.
a EMS helicopter in to ferry back south. Um, but see, I was in. They flew me to a hospital there in Northwest Arkansas in Fayetteville. I was there for a
Hmm.
couple of weeks, and then they flew me to the VA Spinal Cord Rehabilitation Center in Memphis,
Okay.
and I was there for about another 2.5 months, I guess.
Wow.
Um, and I probably should have been there longer, but the thing was, um, as I was doing my therapy, they'd try to have me up on a walker or whatever,
Hmm.
going through the hall. I was the only person on that floor that was able to even move pretty much most of them were
Wow.
quadriplegics, the
Hmm.
best ones were paraplegics, just their legs. And man, that was pretty humbling.
Yeah. I mean, you
But
went from complete paralysis. I can't even say the word.
yeah,
From the chest down, and
yeah.
then how long did it take you to start getting movement back and feeling and all that stuff?
Well, I had the weird thing was is like I had feeling,
Hmm.
um, but I didn't have the movement.
Oh, I
Um,
see. Okay.
so I had the pain that I could feel, like you grab my leg or something.
Hmm.
I could feel it, but I couldn't move it. I didn't have muscle control, and I still have issues with my lower leg or lower parts, my calves.
Hmm.
Can't walk right, but gosh, that was before I could walk without a walker. It took almost 2 years, I guess, something like that, pretty close to it. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I was in there for 2.5, 3 months. They sent me home, was out of work for a year, but still getting,
Hmm.
the pay and the points of it. Like I said, my boss, he hooked me up because
Yeah.
I would have been ruined, to say, well, you're done
Yeah. Yeah. That
without
would have been
knowing
pretty
it.
bad.
Yeah. And I think he was hoping that I would get to come back to work. Well, I still had that hope too, but I
Right.
knew that wasn't going to happen as long as I was on the narcotics and all that stuff.
Right.
But
Right.
but yeah, that
Yes. Somewhere in there, you met your wife, right? Where?
yeah.
When was that?
Well, I had a bunch of people, a bunch of friends throughout the state, and a couple of them. well, one of them was a trooper. He was a pilot for the state police, and he and a buddy of his flew up to Fayetteville to see me, and they had a friend, which was my wife, that was going to grad school there. Well, so they called her and said, "Hey, if you come pick us up at the airport, we need to go see a guy. One of our friends, he was in the crash and all this stuff." And so she came and picked him up and took him, brought him to see me. And I met her then, but I don't remember it. I don't remember seeing it. Apparently I flirted pretty hard with her. This was like, oh man, this was, maybe a day or two after I was out of surgery.
Oh, wow.
So I was still so, loopy on drugs that I probably flirted with everybody. I don't know, but anyway, so I met her then, and at the time I had a girlfriend. But as it turned out, when she kind of figured it, the doctors were saying, "Well, oh, there goes the camera again." But the doctors had told them that I wasn't going to walk anymore again.
Uh-oh.
You too, huh?
Oh, yeah. There it goes.
All right. Yeah, I'm back.
It's computer.
Yeah. Gotta love it. Love it.
But they had told the secret amongst everybody was I wasn't going to walk again. But nobody told me, and I was kind of too stupid to, listen anyway.
Well, that's a good thing, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah. It really probably is, because who knows? You know how that stuff can mentally, affect you.
Yeah.
When somebody tells you can't do something, or it's impossible for you to do something, is one or two types of people. They're either going to try to prove them wrong, or they're going to say, "Yeah, you're right." So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know which one I would have been, but nobody ever told me. So
yeah. Wow.
But yeah, and then it was after my current girlfriend figured out that, or had been told that I wasn't going to walk again. She saw the shape I was in. She popped smoke and left. Which it's okay with me. I mean, I didn't need her anyway for that. If that's the way she.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Very true.
But
wow.
After that, a mutual friend of my sister and my wife came to my wife and said, "Hey, I need you to meet this guy. I need you to meet him." And this was about 2 years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said, "Look, I'd like to set you up with this guy." She was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Sure, I got nothing to lose. I don't care." So I was game, but she wasn't. But anyway, she finally did, and yeah, we ended up getting married. It was about a year after that. So,
Wow. So sometimes there's a blessing in disguise, in things. So, got your wife out of it, got your kids, it's good.
That was another thing. I wasn't supposed to be able to have kids because, all the nerve issues I had. And,
right.
hey, it took a lot of practice, but, we finally had one. And then it wasn't, let's see, he was born in January 2013.
Okay.
And then about 3 months later, my wife says, "Guess what, honey?" We had another one.
Quick.
Yeah, both born in the same year. One in
wow.
Yeah, one in January and one in December. And then we had a third one, that one right there.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it was it's been interesting, when you hit those like a phase line in an op order, something that changes the course of your your life. Those are three of them that I could think of.
Yeah, and, for sure.
But yeah, we were together. Let's see, we got married in 2010, and had kids, and in 2019 we decided we wanted to start traveling some, more on a full-time basis. And so we sold the house, bought a Class A, and hit the road. And we're still doing it to this day.
Yeah, and that's where we actually ended up meeting, which was pretty cool. They're in Arkansas and Little Rock, or I guess just north of Little Rock.
I don't know. Yeah, they call it the Little Rock Air Force Base in Jacksonville.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where we ended up meeting. And, so for anybody that's listening out there, if you see me driving around or whatever, you see me at an RV park, be sure to hit me up and we'll do a interview. So just throw that out there because we are doing the full-time thing as well. And right now, you guys are down at Key West, Florida. Of course, you can look behind him there and see all the beauty that's going on back there. It's pretty cool. So how do you guys like the traveling around, being in an RV and stuff?
It's been awesome for I'd say 99% of it. But the challenges of being in an RV. There's always something that breaks, always something to fix. Of course, having 3 kids in this little thing, now we're down to this, which is 22 feet. That just being in 22 feet is a challenge in itself, but it's worth it. The kids love it. We've been to 47 of the lower 48.
Oh, wow.
Once we get out of here in July or end of June, we'll go back home for a month or so and tie up a few loose ends, make some preparations in it. I think we're hitting the road trying to make it to Alaska. We're going to try to get that.
No kidding.
Yeah. We have Oregon and Alaska left. So
you got to get it.
Yeah.
Well, you better do it before it gets wintertime. I can tell you that.
We're going to try to do it and be back in September, I think, is when we're going to try to be back. So we'll get a little bit of the cool weather up there, but
yeah,
hopefully we'll miss all the heavy stuff anyway.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, hey, thinking back over your career and the things that you've seen, things that you've done, what types of words of wisdom would you have for anybody out there that's thinking about joining the military or is in the military? That's those young guys. What advice would you have for them?
Oh man, I don't know. I guess I'd say if there's a goal or something you want to do that sounds a little hard to do, and go after it. I mean, looking back my career, never thought I'd be a helicopter pilot, but man, it was an awesome career. I wouldn't change it, even with everything that happened. I still wouldn't change it. It was awesome. And if the only thing I would change is if I could keep my wife and still be flying,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
I couldn't do that and be doing what we're doing now. So,
yeah, that's awesome. And then for the veterans out there, some veterans have a hard time struggling, those types of things. What advice would you have for those guys? I mean, you went through a lot of stuff, with your injuries and all that stuff, recovery. What advice would you have for those guys out there?
Oh man, I went through some pretty dark days, going from being the fittest of my life, to just nothing. And that was tough, to be a male and feel useless. Um, just keep your head down, one day at a time.
Yeah.
And there are still days where I struggle with a lot of stuff, but it's a day by day thing. Um, just to keep your head down and keep going, one day at a time.
Yeah, that's good advice.
What was that saying? How do you eat an elephant? Is one bite at a time.
That's right.
So
yeah,
just one step forward.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is slow.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, hey, it was awesome hearing your story and getting to chat with you a little bit today.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
too.
I can't wait for us to link up again in the near future. So I'm sure at some point in time we're going to cross paths again, and I'm going to keep tabs on you anyway. So uh, you and the family, I'm sure. I don't know if our daughters have been chatting or anything, but there's no telling. Yeah.
I can't remember. I have to ask them about that. We kind of have to limit their electronics time.
Yeah.
If you don't,
They'll be on it all day. Yeah.
yeah, they'll be walking in the walls with a phone. So we limit that. But yeah, man, we'll be through Oklahoma probably in the next month or two. So we'll look you
Well,
up.
for sure. Yeah. We'll be here at least till mid-July into July timeframe. So if you're coming through around that time, let us know. So,
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to keep tabs on you too.
all right.
And
Sounds good.
if you get a chance, my wife's created a blog and a YouTube channel, kind of to document our journeys and everything. It's called Broken Wing Adventures. Um, there's some significance behind that. The title of it. I had a prior engine failure and was able to land without, breaking anything or hurting myself. And I got what's the Army calls it the Broken Wing Award. So that's where that she got that name for it. But yeah, if you get a chance, keep up with us or follow us on Broken Wing Adventures on YouTube and Facebook.
Cool. Well, hey, thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing your story. It was very humbling getting to hear it. And you're doing great things out there on your RV, traveling the country, getting to go to every state. It's pretty awesome. I'm going to be like you someday, and I'll get there.
Shoot.
We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for coming on and telling your story. To all the listeners out there, as a reminder for all the veterans, if you're struggling, you need assistance, you need help, please reach out. The VA has some incredible resources to assist you in your time of need. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can text 838-255, or you can go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that's going to be able to help you out. But one veteran life loss is one too many. I care about you. I know Tim cares about you, along with all the veteran community. So please reach out for help. With that, one last time, Tim, you rock. I appreciate it. And to all the
Thank you.
listeners out there, stay motivated, change your socks.